more pain in San Francisco. The huge Westfield shopping mall in downtown San Francisco is closing down. Devastating news to the thousands of people employed there, leaving a huge hole in the downtown that will affect businesses around it. NBC News did a report on it last night. Let's listen.
Once a crown jewel for retail shopping, tonight the Westfield San Francisco Center is pulling the plug on its famed downtown mall. The stunning decision to walk away comes as the city struggles with homelessness, an open-air drug market, and the perception of crime.
Perception of crime? That's not the reason the mall is closing. How about real crime?
Perception.
Gosh, the things people say today is just unbelievable.
Yeah, needles, drugs, people going in, grabbing things, stores closing because of the crime is so bad. I don't think that's perception.
No.
We call that reality. Welcome to the real world. Over at ABC News, a reporter was told to stay away from the mall because it was too dangerous to report there, right? Take a look.
Perceived danger.
Perceived danger. I'm sorry, you're right.
In the first quarter of the year, the city saw a 16% rise in robberies and a 41% spike in fentanyl deaths over the same period in 2022.
The mayor noting that several metrics of crime are actually flat or down, but it is worth mentioning that we are not at Union Square or the Westfield Mall this morning because we have been advised it is simply too dangerous to be there at this hour.
So that isn't a perception, that's called reality. So when are the woke going to wake the heck up?
Well, let's see what Andrea Kay thinks about this. Andrea, great to have you back. Andrea, losing a huge mall like that will be devastating for that city. But this is the outcome of long-standing Democrat policy. How long can a city like that hemorrhage like this and continue to survive?
I can't think for much longer because it's not just Westfield Mall, right? We heard that there was the owner of I think it was the Downtown Park Hotel, as well as one of the Hyatt hotels downtown. The owner said, I'm going to walk away from a $725 million debt that I owe because it's just unsustainable with the level of crime. And this is after Walgreens closed down their stores there. The list is actually too long for me to mention. Right. And of course, it's Democrat policies coming home to roost, but then it's only going to get worse because what's then going to happen is the remaining businesses are going to have to pay higher taxes because of the tax base that they're losing. So they're never going to learn. And meanwhile, they're going to continue to uphold the policies that drove the crime in the first place.
So sad. And that statistic, I mean, can we just go back to that of fentanyl deaths skyrocketing? Andrea, 41% rise in fentanyl deaths from last year? That's huge.
Right. And of course, it has to be by design. That is an intentional increase. When you think about the Democrat Party, it has been pushing for the legalization of crime for drugs for years. Everybody wanted to legalize pot. Everybody said, oh, we've got to give them drug paraphernalia because we'd rather them shoot up all day long, paid for by taxpayers, than get AIDS, right? So that's gone a long way to increase the homelessness. And then that's also gone a long way to add to the homeless problem that has to do with mental health. So it's been a time bomb of when San Francisco, what was it? San Francisco? Sicko? Is that what Dr. Gina called it? Best name ever. It's only a matter of time before that rotted San Francisco finally dies off.
Yeah. I mean, your state now, my former state, California Governor Gavin Newsom was asked about this, and he says businesses are leaving downtown San Francisco in droves because of the macroeconomic shifts. Here, watch.
See what's happening there. We do see businesses moving out for various reasons, but some of them saying they're concerned about the crime in the area. When you see that happening to your beloved city, what goes through your mind, and do you think something's going wrong there?
No, I think they're struggling to recover from the pandemic. They're struggling to come back. They're struggling with the macroeconomic shifts, particularly as it relates to telework, as it relates to what's the future of a downtown. Is it stacking of offices or stacking of people? And they're in the process of rezoning and rebirth and reimagination. By the way, I've seen that in San Francisco for decades.
Yeah, is he trying to distract people? Was this like, is he trying to bring back moment shots, right? Weren't they like the mimers on the streets? That's some weapons grade level gaslighting.
Exactly. This has nothing to do with macroeconomic shifts. I have a friend, actually a viewer of this program, who said that in San Francisco now, in some places you have to put in your credit card before you can go into the store. But now the NAACP and several other organizations who are profiteers off of racial division are protesting that policy, saying to have to put your credit card in and then go in and basically you shop and a camera watches you and looks at what you take and then charges you, right? But now they're saying that that's a racist policy. So who are they saying are the criminals and who's the racists if that's what they're saying? These accusations are just an outrage beyond an outrage.
Right.
Yeah,
and what did COVID have anything to do with this? What does telecommuting have anything to do with crime? Look, we've been hearing for 6 months or a year that people have had to leave. If they're going to park in San Francisco, they've got to leave the car empty, roll the windows down, and keep the trunk popped open in order to avoid somebody smashing the window, because that's how bad the crime has been. And every bit of this is Democrat policies, but it's extending beyond San Francisco, unfortunately. Upwards of 500 major companies have left California. The politics are so bad. We even had a Southern California state lawmaker say that it's no longer about trying to save California. He now says that every parent here needs to take their children and run.